No one should have to grieve the loss of you at a young age. And I know, because I was there, that you think no one will care. No one will be sad that I'm gone. Sure, maybe some people might shed a few tears, but they'll move on. I'm here to tell you that that's not the truth. I lost my friends a few years ago. I still miss them every day. No, we weren't the closest of friends, and yet still I miss them. All I want to do is tell them that had they just lived one more day, watched one more sunset or sunrise, or just anything just that would connect them to reality. Had they just had those few final moments to sit and think that there is so much more to every day, to every year, that things can change and things do get better. Maybe they would have made it, and then they would have been happier. And I would have got to take my friend to prom, because as stupid as it sounds, I still wish that had happened. I had been invited to their prom, and yeah, it was kind of a joking thing because I didn't go to their school and everything like that, but it was still one of those where I'm like, what if I had? What if that had changed everything? And I know it's wrong to think like that, but you know, people will miss you. You shouldn't die. You should die in your own time whenever nature decides to take you, but don't you dare think that you have to die to end suffering. Because it won't. Then your last moments are thinking of that suffering. What I want in my life is to die when it's my time, but to sit there and smile and think, wow, things are good. Things are really good. I want to die with happy thoughts. I don't know if this video will change your life. I don't know if this will help you see that you are important, but I hope it does, because you are. You are cared about. Maybe not with the people so close to you, but just find somebody. Don't stop until you find somebody who cares about you and loves you for you. Or if you know somebody who's hurting, who is alone, if you see that kid at school who constantly is getting hurt, or if they just look like they've been hurt, anything, you can tell who they are. It's not that hidden. They can try to act big and brave and tough, but we all know who's hurting. Maybe you could be the person who stands up and says, hey, let me get to know you. Let me be there for you. Because we're all just looking for somebody to care. And you could be that person who just stands up and cares for somebody. It's not the end of the road. Especially if you're a teenager. If you are a teenager right now and you are being hated and just feel like, oh, it's never going to end. High school doesn't. I know there are a lot of things that say high school never ends, but it does. It gets better. People change. People move on. The thing that seems so weird to me that I need to share is that one of my bullies in first grade, we actually became somewhat of friends a few years later. And that was hard because I had been punched by this person. I had been so hated, torn down, and yet somehow I was being invited over for play dates and all this other stuff. So even though that may not happen with you and your bullies, it's one of those things where people do change. People regret. People just are stupid. That's the only thing that I can say about the haters and the people who constantly are hurting others. They're stupid. They're insecure. they're the ones who need help too. And I'm not saying that excuses anything that they do. It doesn't. There is no good excuse for hurting other people. There isn't. There's no good excuse. I just want you all to remember that you are important, that there is life after being bullied. If you really feel so alone and you can't find anybody, go write it down. That's one thing that I had to learn to do, was just write down how I was feeling. Because at least that piece of paper can't judge me. At least that piece of paper will listen. Go write it down. Go spill out your emotions. If you don't want to write, film, do something. Get that out. Tell your reflection. If you don't like how you look, even though I know that psychiatrists are going to tell you, oh, don't go yell at your reflection. Guess what? That's what I do. I hate my image. I go yell at my reflection every day. And you know what? Sometimes it makes me feel a whole lot better. You have the power to find a way to make yourself feel better. And as someone who has self-harmed, trust me, if you're doing that, trust me, I know that seems like the only escape. That feels like what'll listen. That feels like that's what'll help in one way or another. Mine was just, I needed control over the pain that I was feeling on the inside, so I took control on the outside. And I punished the pain that I felt on the inside. But I'm here to tell you, don't do it. Do not hurt yourself. Because bullies move on, time moves on. I know the words in your head that those bullies have said will last so long, but scars last forever. You don't want to be 80-something looking at a scar and remembering that person, because that makes them win. They win if you are remembering them years and years after you and them have moved apart. What I have done is ice cubes. Just hold that for a while, or hold it wherever you harm yourself. If you harm yourself on your legs or wherever, hold that ice cube there. It's not a permanent pain, and it's not a permanent mark, but it helps in that moment if you are a self-harmer. And then soon, just like someone quitting smoking, soon it'll just become where you don't need to be hurt anymore, where you can find other resources. And after you are squeezing that ice cube, or while you're squeezing that ice cube, write, do something. Let the pain be expressed in another way. And then you can just move on from ever hurting yourself. If it's really important to you to make it stop, don't look to suicide. Don't make excuses to not get yourself help. It's like what I used to do, because I knew that, oh, I didn't want to go through therapy. I didn't want to go through getting help. It was important to me, but it wasn't enough important to me, because I always just kind of like used, oh, I could end it at any moment. Once I took suicide out of the equation, I stopped making excuses. It was that important to me. If it's important to you, you won't have an excuse. You need to find that it is so much more important to live. Don't let your hater win. Don't let whoever has ever made you feel worthless, don't let them win. Live your life and be happy. Because happiness changes the world, negativity doesn't. I love you. I'm sure there are so many people out there who love you, who want to know you and love you. And And even if you don't believe it, and I'm not telling you you have to believe in it, but I know for a fact that if you knew my God, He loves you. He loves you no matter what. Whatever the church has told you, don't listen to it, because He loves you. He does. He wouldn't have made you if He didn't love you. He does. He loves you so, so much. No matter what you've done, where you've been, He loves you. And you cannot change anything before you can get to Him, for Him to love you. Jesus said, come as you are. And that meant just come. Just come to me. And if you want to feel loved, and if you want the right changes in your life, just come to me. I'm not saying He's going to change your life where you're a Bible thump or you're not gay and all that, because guess what? I don't believe that stuff. I don't. Jesus can use anybody. God can use anybody, because God just loves anybody. He does. You're here because He brought you here. And He loves you so, so very much. I wish that I could say that it just gets all better and things will be perfect whenever you find this. It won't. But hey, you can find a way to make yourself strong enough to know that, hey, yes, I will have hard times. Yes, things will be bad. But I know I'm strong enough to get through it and say, that was yesterday, this is today. There is hope. You just gotta hold on to it. No matter how hard it is, you just gotta hold on to it. I love you. It gets better.